So here's just a little bit about me. I'm the president and co-founder of Unlimited Software, the makers of FileCatalyst products. I've been working on the FileCatalyst webmail and workflow products for most of the last 10 years. The products have evolved quite a bit since the very beginning, and you know, the product has kept up a lot with the times. So there's a lot of new features. We've been implementing over the years. Check out our blog. There's always a lot of good, articles about file transfer and other, technical articles that our staff posts there, monthly. So it's a good place to. It's a good read. So just to give you an agenda, what we're going to go through. We're going to go through. I'm just going to give you a quick FileCatalyst Workflow 101 introduction. So kind of just talk about all the different components. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please ask them in the GoToWebinar questions bar, and I will try to get to them at the end of my presentation. Also, if you have any technical problems, please send them through questions as well. I will make sure that you that we fix this if you have any problems right now. So first, I'm going to go through FileCatalyst Workflow 101, give you a few basic ideas and overview of the components that you have in Workflow to make, to fit FileCatalyst Workflow into your file transfer workflow. I'm going to go right into demos. I don't want to really want to show you the software. I'm never really was big on PowerPoints, but my marketing people are telling me that I should be doing PowerPoints, so I'm doing it. You have, we'll show you some basic submission form. By a submission form, it just means going into a predetermined folder, sending files via email. I'm going to go through some group functionality, HTML headers, how you can create HTML headers in order forms, how we can play with the default values in order forms, and how you can allow the user to select which site to upload files to. And then I'm going to also show you some interesting workflows, how you can go straight into, for example, upload step or order form or file area for a user to once again simplify the user's experience. We'll talk a little bit about the different deployment and licensing options, and then we'll have some questions. I'm hoping to have everything done in 45 minutes. We'll, if there's more questions, I'll be more than happy to stay longer. If the questions are very pertaining to your specific deployment, we might have to take it offline and connect. I will connect with you after the webinar ends. So FileCatalyst Workflow is really two components. There's the transport components, which are your Java applets for uploading and downloading files. You have the form upload for the native support of browsers. So this is if Java plugin is not present or the user cannot install Java. You have just a regular natively supported form upload. It's not accelerated, but it's supported across the board on every single browser and device. And then you can also connect Workflow to a hot folder, and we have a mobile application and as well an API where you can actually generate transactions with the Java API. This is very handy for automated system automation, where you, for example, have a system that generates a report or a video file and needs to send it right away to large audience. You can generate a job, and then you have your intelligence. This is the fields and the stuff that figures out where the file should go, what path it should go, and what email notifications should be sent. So you have your fields, your order forms, your FileCatalyst sites. Sites could be either an FTP server or a FileCatalyst server. You have your groups, your jobs, status, file areas, and users. So just to get a little bit more into secure transport components, so we have the upload applets. There's the upload and the download applet, as well as file area applet. All applets support, UDP, FTP, and HTTP. And they can all also do MD5 checksums and deltas. Hot folder is another tool for uploading into workflow. This allows you to either upload to a new job or any file area or group file area. And it's really for automation. It's to schedule a task and let it go. You also have the native browser support with our form upload. Once again, it's you pick one file at a time, and it's the maximum file size is 2 gigs, but it's very handy when you know, Java plugin, for example, cannot be installed. And of course, there's no retry or resume with these things. But once again, it is what regular browsers support, and we support the same thing. Mobile app. This is the latest update. I'm actually going to be showing here you our 4.8.4 build, which actually has all the mobile support right now built in. So you can upload files with the mobile app into a file area, or you can submit jobs right into the workflow. And like this, you're hooking up your mobile devices right into the entire FileCatalyst workflow, all the features of FileCatalyst workflow. And right now, the latest app is available on the Android. The iOS app is coming up soon. So just give you an idea here, an overview of where we are with where some a little bit in-depth idea what fields are. So fields are really the stuff you want to capture, the information you want to capture before somebody submits or transfers a file. You can have a text area, a drop-down, a date, or a quantity. Quantity really meaning a number. So this is the information you want to capture before someone transfers files. And then you have some smart fields, or like what we call workflow modifiers. So these fields, if they are present, they will modify the workflow of the submission. So if you have, for example, a recipient email field in your order form, then this will send out download links via email to the recipients. If you have a site selector field, which I'm going to be actually showing you in a demo later on, you can allow the user to select which FTP or FC server you want the files to be uploaded. And just to give you another example, if you add, for example, a PIN field, then there's going to be a PIN is going to be required to download the files that were sent via email as an email link to the recipients. Order forms are the main logic. This is where you combine all these fields that you want to, the information you want to capture and the workflow you want to do, and you can that allows you to really put your workflow together. For the order forms, you have order forms per job, so you have one job-wide field, and you also have per file order forms. So for example, if I upload 5 files, I can prompt the user to give me some specific details for each file they've selected. You know, for example, could be, you know, resolution or you know, quality of the video, or you know, whatever the information you want per file. Sites, these are our FileCatalyst and FTP sites. Once again, workflow can work with FileCatalyst servers, where this is where you would get the advanced features of acceleration, MD5 checksums, and MD5 checksums and compression. But you can also connect to any third-party FTP server, so you don't necessarily have to use FileCatalyst servers. And this is where you would play with your target storage folders. So what folder do you want? If this user uploads a file, where do I want this file to end up? This would be set up as sites. You can also fire off scripts. So as soon as a job is submitted, you can fire off a local shell script, or you can fire out a URL call if you want to notify something else. And sites also manage your XML and PDF artifacts. So an XML or a PDF, they contain the same type of information, it's just organized differently. XML is for parsing really by other system, PDF is for users to view. And it has just all the information the user has entered, the file names, and the username, and all this stuff is in there. You also have the intelligence components. So these are, once again, for groups. You can assign, if you want to assign a specific user to a specific order form, you don't do it directly with the user, but rather you have to create a group first and assign that group to an order form, and then add that user to that group. The reason we do it this way is that it's just a lot easier to manage when you start going into thousands, hundreds or thousands of users on your system. It becomes a lot easier to manage groups than individual users. You also have the you can define for groups whether they're going to have their own shared folder. So, for example, I'll give you a marketing group within your organization. They might want to have a folder, a web-based share folder where they can drop files, sort of like a Dropbox that anybody within the marketing team could access. And there's all the notifications are built in. So if someone uploads a file into that shared folder, everybody in the group will be notified that this event has happened. And as well, you can have you can share the transactions within groups, so everybody within the marketing group can see what other people have, what other jobs have other marketing people have sent. And you have your permissions. Job, it's really the job is really the transaction record. So this is where you have your job will have an order form and your files combined into one package, and that's what we call a job. It's your files and all the information, transactional information that was entered by the user. And status is really to keep track of all of this. So you might have files that you've sent to an email address. You want to know if the files have arrived. That will give you a status. You might have a status that you've submitted files to a predefined area. You can create statuses, and you can make as many statuses as you want in the system to help you with the workflow. User authentication, once again, these are users, so you can have your users with LDAP, Active Directory, single sign-on or internal database. Whatever authentication you need, we most likely provide it. And once again, this is all connected to a backend MySQL database, so it's fairly easy to customize if you need something much more advanced. And here the users also get the assigned selected functionality. So for example, one user might be able to only submit files with a very specific order form. Another user might have a full access. That means they'll have a file area access and a submission and perhaps even access to distribution. So you can assign this for a group, and you can then assign multiple groups to a single user. So in order to add more access for a user to a new group folder, all you have to do is just add that user to another group, and that would work. In file areas, once again, similar to Dropbox type of thing, where you can connect via the web, or you can connect via a hot folder to keep something in sync, and then everybody can see this. And once again, this is all done via a notification list, so if there's any changes to file areas, everyone will be notified. So just building blocks. Since we're talking about blocks, let's make a little Lego tower, I guess I would call it. So just give you an idea how everything is combined together and how everything works. So you got your FileCatalyst workflow. That's it. That has multiple sites connected. The connectivity between sites is via upload applet, Java applets, hot folder, or upload downloads. You have your administration view, so this is all what administrators see. And I'm sorry about that. And the administration view, and there's going to be also the user view. This is what the users get to see. So once again, everything is individual, so every user sees only what they need to see. They don't see all the files on the system, while administrators will see all the files that were submitted from a number of users. Then you have your security layer on this, of course, to make sure that everything is encrypted with passwords, and there's SSL and AES encryption, and the authentication. Just another diagram here, how everything fits together. Order forms, the jobs are assigned to an order form. Jobs have a status. Jobs can belong to a group or a user, and this just gives you another way to how all these pieces work together. So let's go into demos. So I'm just going to track back here so I remember what we're talking about here. So I'm just going to go first into my first demo, which is just a standard submission of files into a predetermined location. So in this case here, I have a user that needs to send files to, and I want these files to arrive to a specific path somewhere on my server. So all I have to do is just log in as a user. I can click on New Job here, and I've made already two types of order forms here. One is send files to a server and send files to user. So I'm just going to pick send files to server. In this case here, I only have one text area where I can put some comments about this upload. Once again, this is customizable, and I can select upload files. And this is what launches the Java applet to add the files to my queue. So I'm just dragging and dropping. And once I hit upload, this is where the upload happens. And files have been sent. So what I just did, I uploaded two files to a predetermined location as defined by the administrator of the system. So let's go to the second one. Once again, these are all just the basics. I'm going to now do another upload where I'm going to actually upload files to an email instead of using the predetermined location. So I'm just going to pick the other order type, and I'm going to type in my recipient. So I have a notion here of an address book that came up, because now I can store all my favorite email addresses in this address book and send it. I can also have this address book synced with my LDAP or Active Directory. And in this case here I don't, because it's just a demo, but you could have this synced as well. So I'm just going to pick here, I want to send it to John. I'm going to just remove this guy, and here are the files. And in this case here, I'm going to be notified when John downloads the files via email, because it says yes, because that's what I selected in my profile. But I can change that if I don't need to. And now I'm just going to click on Upload Files. There you go. And now once again, I select some files to send to this user, and the file goes. So here I'm doing very small files and very little files, but this works with files up to several gigs of data. There's no limit to that. So now I send these files. So now what would happen with as a recipient? I would just open up my Outlook and click on Send Receive here. And I'll go into my inbox here. There you go. And here's the download link. So all I have to do is just click on this link. This will open up my web browser, and here's the file I just sent. So now I became a recipient when I opened Outlook, and I click on the link. I became a recipient, and now I have the files here that I can download. I can download one file at a time by clicking here, or I can click on the Download Now button here and download these files this way. So this is a classic sort of send files via email without attaching the files in the email, but rather sending a link concept. So that's the concept. And once these files are sent, I can then look at through here in my job history as a sender, and I can see who sent what, who accessed the files, and everything is very nicely outlined here for me, what I've done. So these are the first two basic concepts. So now what we're going to do is that if you notice this user here, when I log in, this user gets to see two order forms. They can select either going to server or users. But I would like this user to only be able to do one functionality. I don't want them to do both, because it might be confusing to them, or I just don't want, for security aspects, I want them to only be able to upload to a predetermined location. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to log in as administrator to the system. So administrator gets to see everything, gets to see all the jobs submitted, configure the system. This is like the root or the super administrator, what we call in the system. I'm going to go into groups now, and now I'm going to make a new group here, and I'm going to call it upload. I'm going to call this group uploads, and this group I'm going to give it the I'm not going to give it anything here, but all I'm going to do, I'm just going to give this group the send files to server option. And now I'm going to go to users, and I'm going to add my user into this group. So now let's test this. If now I log in as this user, I go right out. See, when I clicked on new job right now, what happened, instead of getting that selection of what order form I want, I went straight into the first order form, which was submission, upload to a predetermined location. And now I can continue with what I just showed you in the demo earlier. So, you know, fill this out and send it. So now this is how I can start to make specific functionality for different user types in my system with one application. And once these jobs arrive here and I'm logged in as administrator, I have a one central view of everything. So I don't have to go into, you know, 3 different applications or paths where I can see everything. Everything is centralized and neatly displayed to the administrator. So now if we go to the next one here that I wanted to show you was job-wide HTML headers. So sometimes it is beneficial to customize the order form. So what I'm going to do here with this user now, I'm going to go into my order forms. This is where my order forms are defined. And I'm going to take my order form for send files to server, which is the order form that I just assigned to my user. And now I'm going to be able to add something new here. This is a relatively new feature. It's been added, I think, in 4.8.1, I believe. So I can just add job HTML field, and I would just write something like video submission. And I can even put this, let's see, in, I think, an H1 tag, for example. So it looks big to the user. And now let's see what's going to happen to my user with this. I'm going to click on new job, and now see here I see video submission appearing. The nice part about this, we had this feature before where you could add HTML to the order form, but now the nice part is that if I go to the next step, again, video submission is following me. So this HTML is going to follow me throughout the entire submission process of this job. So it's a little bit different than the built-in HTML we had before, where it only appeared on the order form. Now this video submission is going to carry you throughout. So if, for example, I had a confirmation step, which I haven't enabled here, but if I did, I would see that video submission as well. So that's the job-wide HTML. So another thing we can do, we can play with, it's the default values of order form fields. So if I go back into my demo here, and now I'm going to do something new. I'm going to say that I want my user to always upload files to a specific email address, and I want that email address to come up as a download link. So basically the user on the recipient will get a download link, but I want this user to be able to only upload to one specific email address and not give him any other options. So what I'm going to go here, I'm going to go into my order forms, I'm going to go into my distribution form, and I'm going to enter here a specific address. Now, there is a way to make this, turn this into a drop down, and it's just a matter of changing the type of the field from text area to a drop down, and then I could do the same thing with a drop down. But now I'm going to do, I'm going to hide this basically. So what I'm going to do, I preset a value to it, and I don't want this user to be able to change my subject. All I want this user is just to put a message with this upload. And I don't want this user also to be notified when the download occurs, because the user is just basically sending files to a predetermined email address, and whoever is on the other end will just pick up the files via clicking on the link. All right, so we did this. Now I'm just going to have to go back into my group here where I added John TK, and I'm just going to go back and change order forms. I'm going to assign now this group the distribution order form. So now if I log in as this user, here's what I'm going to see. Here's my distribution, here's my message. So in fact, what I did, I customized my sending to files to an email address to go to a very specific inbox, and almost making it look like a submission to a predetermined location, but with the nice little option that now the recipient doesn't have to go to the predefined location. They can just click on the email link, just like I did before. I can now go in here and see here the files. So I already locked everything. All the user had to do is just select files, and here's my download link. So that's one way of pre-locking. You can preset any number of fields you want. Some fields might be useful for your users, which you need to prompt, but some fields will be very generic, and you will not need to ask for this information. So in this case here, you can make this decision when you're setting up the order forms for the users. So that's, and then there is another option here I would also wanted to show you, is how a user can select which FTP site to go to. So in this case here, in my configuration, I have two FC servers defined. So I have one, my default server, which could be my default location here in Ottawa, and then I could have another server in Europe. And I would like my users to select which servers they want to upload to. The reason they might want to do this is that, let's say they're sending a large video file or large files to Europe, and most of the recipients will be in Europe. It will make more sense for me to upload the file once into the European server and get all the recipients to pick up the file from there, instead of posting the file in my local office here in Ottawa and have all the Europeans coming individually picking up the files. It definitely optimizes your network paths and network usage in this way. So here's this is the way you would do this is, first I would have to go to my job data fields, and I will have to add a new field to the system. So I'll call this Site Select, and I'll call the display label is what the user actually will see. This is what the actual user, the field ID is an internal ID used by the system. Display label is whatever the end user will see on the order form. And I'm going to select here this to be an FTP server. So once I added this here, now I'm going to have to scroll down to my site selector field, and I'm going to have to edit the selection. So by default, it comes with no sites. So now I'm going to have to add the two sites. So I'm going to add my default site, and I'm going to add my Europe site. And I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to go back to my order forms and my distribution form. So I'll remove this predetermined value and unhide these. I'll unhide the subject. And I will add a new my site selector field into this. I'll move it up a bit so it's nice and neat with the rest of the stuff, and I can make this as a required field. So here at the bottom you kind of get an idea how everything is going to look. So I'm going to have my recipient, my subject, my message, and my site selector. What site I want this upload. And once again, keep in mind that you can combine all these features together. So you could put a site selector field on an order form and have it set to a default value and hide it. This automatically will make anybody using this order form go to that specific site. But these are just some of the combinations you can do. So I'm just going to submit this here and save. And now I'm going to log back in as the user. And now when I click on new job, now I have the option to select what are my recipients, like I did before. And here are my files. And now I can select where I want to go in the world with these files. Do I want to go to the European server or the default server? And because this can be predefined and hidden for me, I might not have this choice. But in this case here, you know, the administrator probably thinks I'm very smart, so he gave me the option. So this allows, you know, power users to really take advantage of the entire workflow system, and as it's connected to multiple FTP sites or FileCatalyst servers. So I'm going to select European server, and now I'm going to upload these, and I could upload the files. So this is the concept of making sure that the sites work properly. The next step is I can do here is I'm going to look at is just a couple of shortcuts. So very often we're asked, I like all these features, but I want the user to just log in and go straight to upload files. So the way this would work is that I can by me assigning a user a single functionality, for example, you know, job submission, I can have the user automatically go into an order form. So here's how this would work. All I have to do is I have to go to my users. Here's my user. Give this user job entry no file storage access, and give it the uploads group. And now if I log in as that user, I go right away into the order form submission. So this is one way I can provide shortcuts to users by making sure that they are only allowed to do one function in the system. Now, if this user also needs to be able to access file areas, well, I cannot do this anymore because the user has to select, make a choice on their own whether they wish to go to file area or a new job. Another thing you can do here is we can do with this is that we can also redirect to file areas. This is in the latest version in 4.8.4 here that I'm showing you. I'm pretty sure this is a fairly stable build, as we're probably going to be launching it in the next day or two. I can also do the same thing for file areas. So I'm just going to go back to my users here, and I'm going to give this user file area access only. And I'll make sure that this group here has a shared folder, because if it doesn't, then this would not work. But this area here this group has a shared folder. And now if I log in as that user, now my interface will change again and will take me straight to the group file area for this one group we just made, the group uploads. And now I can upload files and download files. I mean, I have the option to go into my view my profile, but that's it. I have basically one functionality. So in order to make this work, it's really just a matter of assigning a user to a very specific order form. Last I can also do is that if I want to take the user to a submission, I don't want to take them to the file area applet, but I want to take them to the upload applets right away without prompting for anything. I can do that as well. All I would have to do in this case, I would just have to go back to this user, change the file area to job entry, no file, back to job entry, no file storage, go to my order form, and just make sure that all my fields in my order form are hidden or are basically not, I cannot do anything with it. So here's, for example, I'll put a default value for this. So I'll put some, I have to put some demo values, and I have to make these all hidden fields. So as soon as I make, by virtue of me making this hidden fields and presetting the value for the user, once they click on this order form, they will not be prompted for the form. They will go rather right away to the upload applet. So now if I log in here as this user, oh, I think there's a file area still. See, I didn't remove the file area from the group. So let me just go correct this quickly. I will go into my group here, make sure see this, the reason it didn't work is that I still forgot to uncheck the share folder. So when the user logged in, he had two options then. They had option to either go to a shared folder or to submit a job. And in this case, the redirect didn't work. So it's just making sure that only a single functionality is allowed. And once again, it doesn't take me, because see here, I have a finish button. So I can either upload or finish. So I would have to make sure that the user, this specific user, is only allowed to upload files and not finish a job without files. So once again, I have to go back to my order forms, distribution here, make sure that at least one file gets uploaded on this order form. And now if this user logs in, it will take me to the upload page. So that's how the automatic this is how the automatic redirection works. This is a new feature that we developed in 4.8.4 pretty much. So some of this has been before in 4.8.1, but this is fairly new. So let me just go back here to my PowerPoint, which my marketing people love, and I'll just go through some of the stuff. So just to give you an information on the products, what we've been showing you here is FileCatalyst Workflow. You can get a free demo of this product by going to filecatalyst.com. Deployment is really, you have three options for that. You can either, purchase a license, a perpetual site license, on-site license, where you get, all the controls and everything. You have the option to purchase an on-site leased license instead of, if you rather have a operational expense instead of CapEx, you can do that. And then you also have the hosted, where we actually will host an instance of that for you. Of course, if we're hosting it, it's going to be on a shared server, where you're not necessarily going to have access to modify everything, but you'll get a good, you'll get a pretty good, enough controls to pretty much run a system. So just to follow up, don't forget about some of our events coming up. We're going to have a FileCatalyst user forum on May 6th in LA. We're going to be also at Interop Las Vegas on May 7th. We're going to be at CanSec here in Ottawa at our new Ernst & Young Center on May 29th. And then we're going to do a little bit of flying and go to Broadcast Asia and IBC in Amsterdam, Broadcast Asia in Singapore and IBC. And don't forget our monthly webinar, which are usually announced about a week after the original webinar is finished. So thank you, and if you have any questions, I can review them right now. Please go ahead. Let me just take the questions out here. Do the per file fields exist on the hot folder workflow upload? No, they don't. That's something, a limitation in the hot folder uploads right now. Second one question is, that's a question again from Arif. Question is, do hot folder, when you're using hot folder with the recipient email address, cannot be hidden in order for the email notification to list all the addresses, as it is the same way with workflow with hot. I am not sure if you should be able to in webmail still hide the recipient field. Definitely via the web. I don't know. I'm not sure about hot folder though. It's a good question. I would have to check. The next question is, can workflow upload files to 2 different servers at the same time? No, this is not possible. You can only select one server at a time. But we do have the script execution on the FTP site, but that's, once again, that will be in workflow, where you can fire up a script which you could use, let's say our command line tool, to move the files onto a secondary server after they've been uploaded. So that's possible with workflow using our command line tool and the script execution. Can you cover configure workflow options? Okay, so the configure workflow options, I'm just going to talk about this briefly. So that was another question from Arif, and then I have a question here from Matthew about workflow options. So the workflow options we can do here, there's well, first of all, you have the script execution, which you can fire after the upload. I'm not sure if this is what you're asking for, but that's one option in workflow you can do. So in the script execution, after the transfer is done, you can fire up a script and pass it, for example, our XML file if you need to see that. This is something that is one way of firing up a script after the upload. From the perspective of workflow, also what we have is you can define your steps, how you want to do upload. So here I'll just show you a very quick example of how to insert another step here in the workflow. So what I will do here, I will add another script step called confirm job. And now I can, after confirm job, I'm going to say completed back to job list. So this is a simple example, and this, what I've just done, I've inserted I inserted another step into this workflow, where now I have to confirm the file transfer. And here's the so see, since all the fields were hidden, I can finish it. So this allows you kind of to figure out where to go next on your submission. Some of the most popular ways of doing this is, for example, let me bring back a good order form here so I can work on this. Let me bring back a good order form. So I'm just going to go back to my order forms. Just let me unhide this here because it's kind of hard to work with a system that doesn't give me anything. So now I'm going to go into my workflow configuration, and now I'm going to go to upload files, and I'm going to, after uploading files, I don't want to go straight to the next step, but rather I want to go to return to edit job properties. I'll show you in a minute what this does, and I'll leave the confirmation step right where it is. So what this will show you is that now the user can select files from multiple sources. Actually, no, this is still not going to work because I have my select site, and select site is not going to work. But this workflow will allow me to select files from multiple sources, all in one job. So let me go in here. I have to go back in here and make sure I remove the site selection, because if I have my site selector, then I cannot perform this task. And I don't have file area enabled, so that's once again a bad demo. I have to enable that as well. The reason I'm doing all of this is that I want to show you a process where I can select files for a job. Some of the files will be coming from file area. Some of the files will be coming from my local disk drive. Read write. And this is another way of you can customize your workflow on submission. So if I go to new upload now, so I can select files now for uploads. Let me just upload a file here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually do a combination of selecting, I'm going to select 3 files to be sent from my file area or group storage to this account. And I'm also going to upload I'm going to upload even more files from my local file system. So now what I'm doing, I've selected files that were sitting on my disk somewhere on in my group folder. I selected files that were sitting on the server somewhere, and selected a file that was sitting on my disk. I combined them all into one package that I can now send to anybody in the world. And this is another way of doing workflow. So I can, by doing the circular type of workflow, you can select files from multiple locations to submit for upload. And once again, these files could be going to a predetermined location somewhere, or could just be distributed to other email recipients. Keep in mind that file area, because these are just regular folders on a file system, your file area or group folders can be pointing to any pre-existing folder that has a lot of files in it. So if you want to, for example, have, you want to send some high-res files to a number of recipients, you can do this circular type of a workflow where instead of just going sequential, step 1, step 2, step 3, you can go select upload files, go back to edit print job, add more files, and kind of just, once you're happy that all the files are there, you click on next. In this case here, I still have my confirmation step, and now I'm submitting files. So this is another way you can customize the file sending workflow. And the other option was the script execution, as I already covered. So I think that's it for. Is there more questions? Yes, that one. Oh, I think I talked right through it. Sorry. Sometimes HTTP, this is Matthew, again a question from Matthew. Sometimes HTTP is faster than UDP. Can the user choose the transfer mode? Yes, they can. This is again has to be configured on the server. And the way you would do this, you would have to edit user's profile. And give this user access to allow user bandwidth tuning capabilities. And this, I think, will enable the user to select what they want to go, what they want to select. So it was under edit user profile, allow user bandwidth tuning capabilities. I believe this is what we'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now log in and go to my profile, it's not there. I thought there was a way to do it. I'll have to check on this for you, Matt. I don't remember it. I thought these fields would appear here. For some reason, they are not. So there is a way to do this. Maybe it's another way to do it is via an FTP site. I have to double check on this for you. Where are my questions here? Lost my questions. Okay. But the one don't know anything technical. Would be nice if the server could test the speed and choose the right one. Yes, that would be great if we could do a bit of a test, but that once again kind of delays everything, because if we start sending UDP, we have to send it for quite some time before we're sure it's not really giving us the right performance. And this is not necessarily the user wants to wait 3-4 minutes before they can start a transfer. We're talking about a smarter algorithm for UDP, but this is still in the works, where we can maybe downgrade, start with UDP, and if UDP is not going fast enough, to downgrade to FTP, and perhaps even downgrade to HTTP. But that's something in the works. And so these are all the questions I've seen here. I'm sorry here, Matt, I don't have the, I don't know what yes that one means. I think that was something I was talking about. So anyways, if you have any questions, we'll take it offline. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. And once again, questions were very interesting. I love getting questions at webinars because it's really fun to answer them and to talk to everyone. So thank you very much. And sorry for taking more than 45 minutes, but with the questions, it was interesting. And talk to you in about a month for the next webinar. Bye.